Hello and welcome to Recentered episode 29, our fortnightly podcast about VR, AR and MR gaming. I'm your host this week, Rog, and with me as always I've got Lee and Gary, so let's just get straight on with it. Gary, how you been doing this week?
Yeah, not too bad. You remembered it that time, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
The old name, yeah.
That's it, yeah.
That's not the fourth take, that's the first take we've done. Yep. Let's get straight in.
Consummate professional as always.
Absolutely, yeah. A little bit annoyed you forgot my name, but never mind. I'm not going to let that ruin the show. I'm good anyway. I've been playing quite well. Quest 3 at every available opportunity, really, this past couple of weeks, and there's some stuff that we're going to get into in this show. There's plenty of games to talk about. Although, you know, like Ghostbusters and Foundation, we've not really gone into, unfortunately. So we will be talking about Ghostbusters at least a little bit later on. But we've got plenty of other games that we're talking about as well. But a couple that I just want to quickly mention that I've picked up, they're not on my list because I've not captured any footage and they're not really enough to really talk about at the moment. But Miracle Pool is an AR, like a mixed reality game, a pool game on Quest 3, which I wanted to mention. Anybody that's unaware, so if you're into like 11 table tennis or something like that, where you can put full-size table tennis in your room, in your real-life room, it's fantastic, and I absolutely love it. So Miracle Pool, obviously, is the version of that for mixed reality as well, with a pool table. And I've not got a huge living room or anything like that, so it's difficult to even fit a pool table in my living room. But when I've got to say, it's a great game. It's fantastic. It's really early access at the moment, but I mentioned a few times ago, like a few episodes ago, how I was into Sports Bar VR when I first got VR.
Yeah. And
it was just such a great little experience where you've actually got like access to a pool table and you can play it whenever you want. And this offers that in mixed reality, so you're not going to bash into your walls or anything like that. And you can move the table around, even if you are playing in a smaller room. You can move the table around if you need to. But also the graphics look fantastic. It's really clear, really sharp, and again, early access, so they're adding modes all the time into this. But this is one that passed me by. I think it's been out for quite a while, actually, or it's sort of in various stages of development for a while.
Isn't it by the devs that do Black Hole Pool? Is it the same devs what did that?
I don't know who it is.
Because that's really good pool game as well.
Yeah, well, the thing that I want to mention on this is the tracking. So on a lot of these pool games that I've played, the issue is with inside-out tracking is that you can't hold the pool cue in the way you want to, like the natural way that you want to do it, because if it's out of line of sight of the headset and stuff, you can't actually do it. This one, for some reason, just does it perfectly, and I don't know what tricks they're doing with this, but it just works perfectly. And I've played some others that do it sort of serviceable. You can still use it in that way, but like Forever Pool, you can't really use it in that way, and you have to have both controllers out in front. It's not natural to use it in that way, I don't think. But this one, the tracking just works really, really well. And only very quickly, I just wanted a quick mention of it because it impressed me, but I've not played enough of it to give an opinion in. It's still sort of early access anyway.
Nice.
So the other thing I just quickly wanted to mention is I've got my final Pimax Crystal review on my channel as well, if you want to go and check that out. The reason I'm mentioning it is because it's been a long time coming. I've had the Pimax Crystal for 4 months and I've made a lot of videos on it, but overall impressions, I've sort of kept this. I mentioned in the review, it's like a moving target. You can't ever pin it down to it being this is the final product or anything like that. So this review is really where it stands at this moment in time, and that was different a month ago, 2 months ago. All of these things, all the new features they bring out, some things get better, some things get worse with it. But I just wanted to mention that really these are my overall thoughts of the Pimax Crystal if they've not been absolutely clear in previous videos, because I don't want people to pick up this headset if I'm not being clear on what I think about it. And when you're doing little snapshots of individual videos here and there over the past few months, it can sometimes be difficult to give an overall impression of what you actually think of the device. So I've tried to do that in that review.
Excellent. So everybody go and check that one out if you haven't already. And while Gary just has a quick look to see if the Discord backup audio copy of this podcast is actually running, just in case something goes wrong.
Yes, I'll get that going now.
Yeah, I didn't hear it ping. Yeah.
Lee, what you been up to?
Mainly playing, the Quest 3. I don't think I've ever played so much VR as I have done. Wait, will that pick up on the audio? No,
I don't know. Just carry on. Let me make a note of the time just so I can cut this out.
Don't worry, leave it in. It'll be fine. Yeah. So I've never been playing so much VR as I have the past couple of weeks since I've got the Quest 3, really. I have got the M2 to M3 retro kit, the BOBO fit, the BOBO, head part to fit on, and that's made a massive difference, so I can actually wear it now. And I'll talk more about that later on when we discuss BOBO things maybe. But I'm kind of really addicted to just one game that I shall mention lately as well. Oh yeah, that is on the screen, my BOBO headset. I've took the fascia off and I'm wearing it kind of Quest Pro style, and I've removed the bit of Velcro that holds the head strap to the actual Quest 3, and it's enabled me to kind of put it more on the top of my head, so it's not so much on my forehead. And I've just, it's been total, I want to say the word game changer because that word's really been annoying me, and it keeps getting more and more mentioned all the time, and every time I say game changer, so I want to keep banging it in this podcast. But it's a total game changer, and I've been using it like that. I do get obviously the light coming around, and I suppose you could probably get some 3D printed, maybe slightly smaller light blockers, something like that. If anyone knows of any, let us know in the comments, and maybe just cover around the lenses. But apart from that, I've been totally loving it.
Nice. Well, according to the note I put on the show documentation, because I always totally forget, what have I been doing? It's basically I've been diving into bits and pieces of sort of like streaming stuff from the PC wirelessly. Now that I can actually sort of do that sort of competently. Bits of Dirt Rally 2, which I haven't played in a long time. And that oh wow, that just runs so well now. Over virtual desktop. It's like I must have played. I had a half an hour session, and anybody who's listened to this before knows what I'm like with with stuff dropping frame. Just 1 or 2 frames. I don't like frame drops at all. And I must have played this like I had a half an hour session, and I would actually put money on it that it didn't drop a frame. It was just so good. I've never seen that on wireless before, so I was impressed with that. Actually downloaded and installed Star Wars Squadrons, which I bought when it first came out, and then promptly never played again because it never ran right. The frame pacing was totally off, and I jumped into that for half an hour. And again, that's the first time I've ever played that game where it played like I actually wanted it to play. I still don't think it's anywhere in the realms of the old X-Wing or TIE Fighter series, but at least now it actually plays properly, which was it was so nice. And I whacked the old I say the old, it's been around for a while. I don't know when it was last updated, but the VR mod for Subnautica as well. And again, I only jumped in that for maybe 10 or 15 minutes, and that was just wow, that was just running so well compared to the last time I ever looked at that, which admittedly was probably a good couple of years ago. So just jumping into the having a look at bits and pieces on the PC side.
That's the thing. You get a new GPU or a new headset, and you've got both of those things really, sort of in the past few weeks. And whenever you do that, it's always good to go back in and try some of the older stuff just to see how it compares. I did it with the blue. I always go into the blue. I don't know what it is about that. I still absolutely love it. But I go into a lot of the older stuff once I get a GPU upgrade or a new headset. I love doing that. It's say headset, GPU, new router as well, and it's to quote Lee, it's a game changer. Definitely. But talking of old games that are now new games, let's get straight on with the more recent stuff. The first on the list is Seventh Guest. Now, anybody who's an old PC gamer, this is definitely a blast from the past. One of the probably original sort of big CD-ROM games from back in the day, around the time of probably Myst, around that same era. I remember playing the original, and probably not. I never finished it because it was really tough. The original CD-ROM version was really tough.
This new version, I've played through and finished it on PSVR 2. I've had a look at the PC one as well for comparison. But this is available on PC at 25 quid, $30, and it's also on Quest native as well at 23 quid and $30. And this is from Vertigo. So, Gary, you've been playing this. What did you think?
Yeah, so I've been playing another game a lot more than this, actually. So I've only played around an hour of this so far.
Okay.
But, so we're going to have to revert to your impressions. You've finished it. But I will say, so I've been in, done the first sort of the dining room area, and then I've gone up and done the magician's room upstairs, and then I've opened up the others. I've had a quick look in there. So that's basically where I am at the moment. And yeah, I mean, I've got no nostalgia for this one, to be honest. So because I heard about it, and of course it was everywhere. It was in all the magazines back in the day, but I never played it back on the original release in the 90s. Although, like I say, it was everywhere. So certainly that side of things, and I think you can have a level of nostalgia for things that you saw in all these magazines but didn't necessarily play. Yeah. But yeah, I think from what I've played so far, it's really like impressing me, to be honest. I think I've played it on PC with virtual desktop on my Quest 3, and graphically, I mean, I'm sure you'll get into this because this is one of the first things you mentioned to me. On sort of default settings on the Quest 3, it looks washed out. The colours just don't pop at all in this game, and I don't know if that's by design or not, but I did turn up the contrast slider to about a third of the way up on the Quest 3 when using virtual desktop, and that made things a lot better. But yeah, I think from what I've played so far, the puzzles are reasonable. You know, it does make me feel a bit stupid at times, but that's how these games are supposed to make you feel, I suppose. But yeah, I've enjoyed it, and actually the puzzles are quite varied. Even in the first sort of couple of rooms, or the first 3 or 4 rooms that I've been into, they seem quite varied, and there's different things to do in them. And it's got this hint system. Now, I've used one hint so far in the 2 rooms that I've done, and you know, only one that first initial, because you've got stages of these hints, so you can. On any individual puzzle, you can go through an initial hint phase, and then, you know, it gradually gets to the point where it basically tells you what to do. Yeah. And I've used just one of that first one so far, that first level. And I think having that there is good, but you don't want to go too far down that path, because at the end of the day, you're not really playing the game then. But yeah, I think... Go ahead. I
was going to say with the hints thing, I didn't want to use it at all, and I finished the game without using the hint system whatsoever. I just asked Mainfan instead on Discord. No, it's the thing with these. It's like you go back to playing old games, and back in the day, you didn't have the internet to look up answers and stuff. You had your friends who were all playing the same thing. You know, because
that's it. Yeah.
A big game came out, or you know, and everybody played it. And it's probably not. I mean, with the Seventh Guest, it was CD game. So I think I'd got a PC then, and people sort of moving over from the Amiga to PC and whatever. But I still knew people. I just had friends who were playing it. So you know, you could bounce ideas off of each other. With this, I got stuck in 2 places, and these 2 places. I think this took me. I think PlayStation, the dashboard said I got 5 hours on it, so that could be anywhere from 5 to 6 hours, possibly. And I think an hour and a half of that entire time was simply 2 puzzles. Yeah. And talking of puzzles, by the way, if anybody's watching this on YouTube, I stripped out any solutions to puzzles. This was, I went back into it again and captured some new footage and made sure there was just no spoilers. So if you're watching on YouTube, there's no puzzle solutions on the video. But yeah, I got stuck in 2 places. One of them, I really couldn't figure it out. And and Mainfan said something about it. He goes, if you do this, it affects this. And I went in and I tried something. I thought, it's not doing that, what he said. So, I don't know. And it was literally a shower thought half an hour later or something. And it was like, oh, wait a minute. But because this thing, what I'm trying to solve, it's this, and oh, wait, that's how... Yes, it was just one of those things what fell into place,
Yeah.
And it totally pointed me in the right direction, and it was just blatantly obvious. The second thing I got stuck on, in this for ages. I missed an object. It was that daft thing of, it wasn't the puzzle. It was, I just missed the object I needed. I was trying to find it, and it was because it's, it was, shall I say, camouflage. It was, the object I wanted was sort of disguised, and I'd picked the stupid thing up multiple times and just moved it aside.
Yeah.
And not look, because the thing I was picking up, I was making an assumption about what I was picking up, and didn't look at it closely, and just discarded it. And it's like, yeah, so that cost me, I don't know how long.
There's so in the sort of the limited amount that I've played so far, there was in that magician's room, for example, I was going through, and it was, I was actually wandering around that area for a little while, and it was one thing. Once I'd discovered one thing, everything else just sort of fell into place. All of these other puzzles, I did it in about 5 minutes after I'd done this one thing, after wandering around for about 20 minutes in there.
I was about to say that magician's room probably took 10 minutes, if that.
Yeah,
it wasn't. But then again, some other rooms, it's one of those games where it'll take, a certain room will take, maybe it'll take you 5 or 10 minutes. Somebody else, it might take them half an hour or more.
Yeah.
And the vice versa for other rooms, because it's just one of those things. It's how it's just how your mind works, isn't it?
Yeah. Just sum up for me anyway. I think I'm enjoying it. For a puzzle game that is going to make you feel a little bit stupid at times, at least for me. I think it's really well done, to be honest, and I'm interested to play more. But it's not one of the things. Just to finish off, I'll mention. I listened to the PSVR 2 Without Parole review of this, and something I agree with Brian on with this, actually. He mentioned that this is the kind of game you go into for sort of 30 minutes, do a room, and then maybe leave it and then come back to it. To me, this is not something I feel compelled to play sort of for hours and hours in one sitting, to be honest. Now, you might feel differently, Rog, but that I agree with him on that particular point. I think that, to me, I like this just being there, and then I can go in for 30 minutes, solve the room, and then leave it for till the next day or something.
I think for me, it was more of, I will continue playing it until I get stuck. I've wandered around for like 20 minutes or 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Can't do it. And then I put it down. I really enjoyed it. I was surprised. I think it took the Room of Dark Matter to make me realise how much I do actually like puzzle games in VR, but I think they need to be wrapped up in nice presentation for me to enjoy them. I don't think I really enjoy puzzle games just for, a puzzle game's sake. If you load something up and it's just, here's a puzzle, solve it. Not entirely sure, but as I'm saying that, I'm just thinking, I did actually go into Puzzling Places for the very first time ever last week, for probably an hour, and I enjoyed my time in that, so I've got myself thinking now. But yeah, I really enjoyed my time with it. I enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed it more than A Room of Dark Matter, and I was going backwards and forwards about this, thinking which one is the better game to me. And for me personally, I think it's this one, because I like how between rooms, you're sort of broken up with bits of story, but those bits of story don't outstay the welcome. You go into a room, you solve there's generally 3 puzzles in a lot of the rooms. You just solve the 3 puzzles, you'll get a bit more of the story, come back out, and then go, another room might have been, some more rooms will be unlocked. You go into another room, solve that, and again, and it's sort of drip feature the story, but it's, you don't have to, the story, you don't have to stand there for 10 minutes at a time listening to something. It's short enough bursts. It's paced right for me, and I really liked it in that regard. Lee, have you played this? I think your daughter's played it, hasn't she, more than you have?
Yeah, this is the thing. The last time my daughter and Mrs. Days played in VR was the Room game, because they do like the puzzle game. So to see them playing in it for an hour and a half, I was kind of more impressed with that they were actually playing VR, and it didn't make them sick, and they were saying how much they enjoyed it. But yeah, I think my daughter's done like 3 rooms maybe. The puzzles kind of remind me a bit of like an IQ test or like a Mensa type thing, where you've got to do these to see how intelligent you are, which I would fail at pretty badly. But Yeah, I wasn't too impressed when I first tried it. Like you say, it looked all washed out, and then Gary said, well, use the contrast slider. If anyone doesn't know where the contrast slider is, it's a bit of a find in the Quest. It's actually in the settings and then in accessibility, and you'll see it on the right-hand side. You can knock it up. It's a slider. And just knock that up a couple of notches, and it does make all the difference. But I do think they've gone for that intended kind of filter, ghostly, faded kind of look. But... yeah, but I mean, I enjoyed what bits I played. I actually enjoyed it once I first did the first dining room puzzles, and then I went upstairs, and then I sort of looked around the corridors and the rooms, and it made me feel like I was in a spooky house, with all the smoke coming out around the side of the doors and the faded wallpaper, and that's when I thought, yeah, this is quite a cool game, actually.
Just talking about going back to the puzzles, one of the very first puzzles is the cake puzzle in the dining room, and do you know what? I rank that as one of the hardest puzzles in the game. For me, honestly,
Really?
I know I said I was stuck for an hour and a half on those other bits, but I must have been stuck for 30 to 40 minutes on that first puzzle. I just couldn't get it. I knew what to do.
Same, dude.
I knew what to do, but because you've got it's a rotating thing, and so you've got symbols on multiple sides. When if you did combinations and failed, you hit the button, reset it again. But because you could turn the thing round and whatever, there's no way I could keep track of sort of what I'd tried before. And honestly, it took me ages. And that was outside those other two places, times I got stuck. Pretty much the very first puzzle you really have to do, aside from opening, aside from there's some plates you have to find at the beginning. But aside from that cake puzzle at the beginning took me longer than anything else.
Yeah, that's what I rented it on the Discord. I said, I hate puzzle games.
Yeah. I just say, if you just happen to sort of because it's obvious sort of what you've got to do, because there's a
trial and error. There's
a clue on the table. Yeah, it's trial and error. But yeah, you could just happen to look out and start picking the right combinations. To start with, and you might do it on your first attempt. Somebody could do it on the first attempt. It took me ages. It absolutely took me ages. It was crazy. I thought,
when I went back in, it took me 2 goes. Like I said, I was stuck in it 45 minutes, come out, ranted on Discord how much I don't like the game and I don't like puzzles. And then when I went back in, it just took me like 5 minutes. I was like, all right, get it now,
After I'd finished the game, I went back in to just grab some footage for the podcast, and it took me another 10 minutes to get past that puzzle. Even though I knew what to do, it was just, I just couldn't keep it in my head, the patterns I'd tried and stuff. It was just... absolutely crazy, but yeah, I really did enjoy it. It just hit all the right notes for me. It has got its problems, however, and okay, yeah, we've already gone on about the colours, and it might be a design decision. The problem is though, there's no, even on PSVR 2, it looks like you're playing on an LCD screen. There are no black. The black levels never go to black. They only ever go to dark grey, and it just washes it out. And even on the OLED, it's like it looks no better in PSVR 2 than it does on a Quest. Colour wise, and it's just they got it wrong. I think they went for a look, and personally, I think they got it wrong. You're right. Definitely use the contrast thing. If you're in virtual desktop, use the 2 colour enhancement options for streaming in virtual desktop as well. It'll just make the colours pop a bit more. But yeah, I think they got the colour grading totally wrong. They went for a look and they just did it wrong.
I mean, was it like this on the original game? I mean, because I've never played it and I didn't even know anything about it. But
it's FMV, it's CD-ROM FMV. It just looks, the old original just looks bad anyway now. You can't. It's no.
I didn't know if they'd gone for that sort of like colour aesthetic on the actual, on that game.
The graphics are anywhere near the same as the sort of level of graphics we've got now anyway. Even though they were pre-rendered back then, they were simple. It was a lot.
It does look good when you get in the house, though. When I first went in the house, it kind of reminds me a bit like Alton Towers. If you go into some sort of spooky haunted house at Alton Towers, it definitely reminded me of that.
Yeah, I mean, when you complete a room, the room does sort of the colour all pops on it, because when you when you first go into a room, it's like you're seeing it as if it's in the past, and if you wave your spirit lantern about, you can see sort of areas of what it used to look like. It sort of reveals what it's. A better version of that room, and when you complete the room, it sort of transforms into like a less greyed out version, shall we say? But it's still not brilliant. there appears to be problems with it, and it seems like you can mess your save game up. It didn't happen for me, but I did find a problem. When I went back when I was playing it on the PC, it was actually in that magician's room again, and near where one of the things you need to collect, because there's some hats you need to use to be able. There's basically I won't give any solutions away, but it's obvious when you go in there. But there's basically a portal type puzzle, or like as in portal. And to get to throughout the game, there's some coins what you collect, which are for the hint system, aren't there? I think you spend them on the hint system. I don't.
Yeah. I think that's what I've heard. I've like I said, I don't think you need to use them on every hint that you get. But you have to use them on some.
Yeah, but they're also collectibles. I think there's a trophy if you find all the coins, and one of them is in a cabinet. And I'd picked it up. I'd picked the. I think I picked the coin up on the PC version. I'd not got, but when I played it originally on PSVR, I'd not picked the coin up, and I went back in. So I thought, I'll see if I can get the trophy. I went back to that room, which was already completed for all the main puzzles. It was just the collectible coin I'd not got. And the actual mechanism, the portal mechanism, didn't work anymore.
Oh, right. Okay.
I put everything in place, tried to do it, and no, you could see your hand. You know what I'm talking about with it, yeah. You could see it flickering, and it'd flicker and then just disappear. And it was like, oh, it's broken, it's not working. I thought that's a bit odd. But on Discord, MainFan posted a video where he was in. It's like a nursery room. And there's some dolls, and some of them missing heads. And you have to interact with the dolls, basically. And I think he'd saved his game out, and he'd gone out of the room and saved, or I don't know. There was a save game in between him and him playing it anyway, and trying to do the puzzle again. And basically the dolls in the room were just non-interactable. Right. They didn't register anything, and he couldn't. And as far as I know, his save game is absolutely shafted.
Oh,
so I thought it seems similar to what happened with me with just the collectible coin thing, where it's sort of like, I'd finished the room, gone out, I'd obviously saved in other areas, but then gone back in to that room, and now one of the mechanisms wasn't working. And that's happened to him, but it happened to him on a crucial bit of, he's got to this point in the game where he needs to solve that to continue, and he can't.
Well, the save system, because when I've been in, so I started this originally on our account, on our Steam account, but then I started it again once it had been released on my own account. So I played through those first two rooms twice anyway.
Yeah.
But the save system, so I thought that when I first went back in after saving it, it sort of reset the room to how it is at the beginning. Every time you go in, but that's not true. It will save some puzzles depending on where you've progressed, and maybe it's something to do with that. Then it's just because I think that the problem is it's so restricted in how it delivers these puzzles. It's like you take an object up and then you leave it somewhere else, and it will spawn back to where it was originally. And I understand, you don't want to lose anything, so I don't understand why they've done that. But everything feels so restricted in that manner. It's like you can't really alter anything, and I'm wondering if the save system just messed up. It got to a certain point and thought, okay, they can no longer alter this thing, so we've got to lock that part off. It's something to do with that. But I mean, I sort of appreciate that save system in one respect, but then if it can cause problems, I suppose that's...
Is it just one of those that saves at random points? Because I couldn't find, when like my daughter playing it, she says, right, save the game, or like, I don't know where you save it. I think you just quit and it'll just save where you are. I don't know.
I think it seems to save when you've like either done a puzzle or when you've picked one of the coins up, what you can collect, or there's collectible. There's postcards to collect as well, and some other stuff. I think whenever you do anything like that, it seems to save. Because I never, when I picked a coin up, I never lost a coin. I never had to re-pick a coin up or anything like that. So it seems to do, So I couldn't remember if it flashed up anywhere that it was saving, or gave you an icon or something that it was saving. No.
This is the thing. I've mentioned this before. I really wish that games like this would really like show you or tell you directly when was the last save, how many minutes ago, was it seconds, was it minutes, was it hours when the last save was. Because all it will tell you is when you quit out, you'll lose all progress since the last save. Well, when was it? Tell me when it was.
Another Fisherman's Tale springs to mind.
Yes, there's been loads of games that do that. It's annoying.
So that's something to be aware of, that there does seem to be a problem. I don't think it's massively widespread. I haven't seen a lot of people complain about it, and I've seen a few people say they've been playing it on the Discord. So I don't know. The other thing what got to me as well is the smooth turning, even set to fast. It's another one of these games where it's stupidly slow. Stop it, please, for my sanity. The rate of turn, even on the fastest setting, is ridiculously low. Fortunately, it's one of those games where you'll spend some, you'll go up to a puzzle, you'll stand there at one place while you're solving it, so you're not walking around all the time. It just annoyed me. And as well, if you want to actually sort of run, you have to click and hold in the analog stick. It's like, there's no need. I've got an analog stick. It's got a range of motion.
Just click it once.
Yeah,
that annoys me as well, that you have to hold it down. You shouldn't have to do that. Just press it once and move on.
And I'll skip ahead here because I'll mention this with Genotype. That knows it's got an analog stick. Push it a little bit, you sort of crawl forward. Push it again, you walk in. Push it to the full extent, you run. Because it's an analog stick. This isn't like a zip stick or a Competition Pro or something that, back in the day. It's an analog stick. Use the actual range of motion. There's no need to click it in to run. Just do that once it's at the fullest extreme. It's like so annoying. So that wound me up a little bit as well.
I didn't even know there was a run in this. I didn't even know there was.
You have to click and hold.
Oh, yeah, I missed that. Because it's slow movement, usually. Yeah.
There's no need to really run anywhere, because it's not as if it's a massive environment. So that's annoying. And the interactions as well, the door handles, I think... The door handles don't really look as door handle. You just grab the door handle. It took me a while to realise, because I thought, why is it taking it ages before it realises I'm trying to turn the handle? But you don't actually physically turn the handle. You just hold the handle and hold the button in, and then after like a second or two of delay, for some reason, the handle will turn, and then it'll work. And it's like, come on, it's VR. Give me a proper interaction on the door handle at least.
Yeah, that's annoying.
Look, I know. Sort of going on a bit about these problems, but overall, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed my time with it. It was. I want to recommend it, but this bugged save game thing has got me slightly worried on that sort of front. It's like, they need to sort it out, definitely. So unless anybody's got anything else to say on it, I'll move on to the next one. But it gets a thumbs up from me. I liked it. I did like it. It's just got issues. Now the next thing could possibly be the best $10 you could spend on your Quest if you're a dedicated Quest 2 gamer. And this is the Quest Games Optimizer. It's $10. You can pay for a premium extension for an extra $3, which gives you a few more options. And this is by Anagan79, and you can buy it on itch.io or itch.io, however you want to pronounce it. And this is a utility for your Quest, and it works with Quest 1, 2, and 3. But it allows you to easily change things like the resolution you launch a game at, the frequency, the frame rate that it runs at, all sorts of settings, the GPU and CPU levels. And the best thing is, you might be thinking, well, you can do this with SideQuest. Once you've got this set up, you can do it entirely from the headset. You don't have to bother plugging a link cable back in. You don't have to boot SideQuest up or anything. You do everything from the headset, so it lets you play about and sort of mess about with games, which is really useful if you're playing an old Quest 2 game that hasn't had a Quest 3 patch, and you've got that extra pokes sat there, and you can turn the resolution up or whatever and make things look quite a bit sharper. And that's pretty... I don't know what else there is to say about it other than it's a really useful utility.
It makes a massive difference. I picked it up on your recommendation to try it, and I'd never heard of it before, so I've not had this for the Quest 2, but I was playing a game, I mean, I'll speak about Into the Radius later, but I played with that, and I think it upscaled the res about 126%. It tells you as well when the game loads up. You've got like all profiles, and it'll say if they've added profiles to these games, that makes them better. And this was HD plus what's on the Into the Radius, which is like the best one you can get. So I just launched it, and the level of detail and sharpness of all the text, it's like I'm playing PC. It made such a massive difference. And I think it ran at like 126%, and it tells you when it's loading up 2,200 by 2,100 something, 126%. And I had no troubles with it. It absolutely ran flawless. The only issue I had, I tried to record a bit of video, and then I had some issues. I think I was really trying to push it then. But I tried Walkabout Mini Golf with it as well, and even that looks as good as PC VR. That's all I can say, really.
Yeah, it's for some Quest 2 games where you've got the overhead to be able to do it. It can look really, really sharp.
Demeo as well. Demeo looked really sharp, especially in MR. It looked awesome.
Nice. The one thing I would like to see in it is, because obviously you can set video recording options up as well, like the bit rate, and I don't think it's quite as configurable on that side as Side Quest, maybe.
I think it's just the frame rate 24 and full. I think that's it.
24
that's what it's got.
Or whatever you're running at. Yeah. So I thought, I'll jump into Res Infinite because I've not tried that on Quest 3. So I went into that. I set that to 120 hertz, and I can't remember what resolution. I didn't whack it up too much because I thought, 120, I'll see what it runs like. And I thought, I'll record video as well. And I'd set it to run at whatever our headset was at. I thought, maybe it'll actually record at 60 hertz. I thought, it's no way it's going to record 1440p at 120 frames a second. And it did, which was a bit of a shock. I did try recording 120 frames a second Red Matter 2. No, no. It, but Red Matter 2 anyway. You're talking about as good as you're going to push Quest graphics. But for older stuff, it was like for Res, it was like I was quite shocked when it spat out a 120 frames a second 1440p video file. I would like to see the option to be able to limit that to maybe a 60 FPS there. Try and speak 60 frames a second recording on the headset, because there's no need to record 120 frames a second. So let me just record run the game at 120 hertz, record like 60 FPS, and you've got a nice smooth output in a game that you can get away with, doing that. Because annoyingly, and on Virtual Desktop, on Side Quest, for Quest 3 now, there doesn't seem to be a native 60 hertz mode anymore. And you might think, well, why do you want to play something at 60 hertz? And it's simply for the fact that if you're recording Quest footage, if you can just go in at 60 hertz, record something at nice 60 frames a second, that just looks good, better on YouTube on most people's devices. Because most people are probably going to be watching on a 60 hertz monitor or maybe a 120 hertz monitor. And if they're watching on the phone, it's probably going to be, maybe be nowadays be at least 60 frames a second screen they're looking at it on. So to be able to record correctly frame-paced 60 frames a second footage is nice. Whereas as default options now, everything sort of seems to get recorded at 72, which means frames are getting chopped out when you're dropping it down to 60. So
you do notice it a little bit, especially on my video. I mean, I recorded, I just did it for the laugh. I went in and I thought, you can record SPS, so you can record 3D SPS in it. And I thought, I'll try and play a bit of Dungeons of Eternity and record that. So I put it to 4K, as you do, and then record it at frames. So it did record 4K at 72 frames, but even if you can watch my short little video clip, if you've got a Quest 2 headset, you can go into YouTube, not the actual app, but go into the internet on your headset and go into YouTube, find my video, make it full screen, then you can click the option to make it 3D. And you'll see that when I'm turning, it does jutter a little bit, and that's what you can pick up when it's 72 to 60. It kind of misses a little bit like that.
I watched it on my TV because I've still got a TV with 3D on it, so I did actually have a look on that. But it squashed. It looked squashed.
Yeah, it does.
It's not the aspect ratio is not right when it's recording.
It isn't. No, that's the problem. I'll tell you a little tip for you. If you've got Skybox Player, and on your Quest, you can actually view YouTube videos on that now. So if you go into the YouTube, search my video, and change the aspect ratio to 4.3, Rog, and then that will fix what it looks like. It will bring in black bars at the side, but it will be the correct aspect ratio for what it looks like. I did try messing around trying to export it, in 4.3 and stuff like that, but it just wasn't lining up right on YouTube. It doesn't work right. But on that, it should work. I've not tested it, but I did test it with the footage I had in my headset and run it at 4.3, and I went, oh, yeah, that's it. That's what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I'll see if I can have a look at that, because it's a nice option. It's like I could definitely see that there was depth going into the screen, but surprisingly, there was a lot coming out as well. There was a lot in front of the screen, which was I was quite surprised at.
There's an app, I can't remember the name of the app, on Pico, where you can actually view 3D SBS videos. I think a guy in there was doing some red matter ones. It's the same sort of thing. Everything looks really wide angled. That's the problem. So until they bring some sort of solution out for that, you could quite easily put 3D SBS videos up on YouTube and people can see what the games are like. Yeah, native, really.
Yeah, but it's $10 plus VAT. So it works out around somewhere around a tenner, isn't it? I can't remember. I
think it was like 12 quid. I think I paid for it UK.
Yeah, and that's it. It's pay once. All updates are free. People sort of upload and supply the guy with actual profiles they've tested for games, and I think you can create your own profiles if you want, but I think there's something in the region of 500 profiles already set. So more than likely that if it's an old Quest 2 game, there's probably a profile already there for it, and if not, you can just easily create your own. And I say once you've got it set up, and do follow the instructions you get on the video. When you buy it, you get an email and it's linked to a video. Follow the instructions. Is all I'll say. It makes life.
Yeah, I did have a bit of issue trying to just run the APK file itself. It wasn't unlocking ADB mode. It tells you when it comes up.
Yes.
You have to allow it from this headset. So if you're on Windows, I would recommend using the Windows install bat to run it.
Yes.
And then when I went back in and clicked the accept all on this wireless network, then it worked for me.
Absolutely. You use the install batch file that comes with it. It makes life a lot easier. But if you're, it's worth it. If you've got a Quest 3, it's worth it anyway. If you're a dedicated Quest 3 player, absolutely best $10 you're going to spend, I think, if you're still playing a lot of older games. Talking about another blast from the past, this one was originally on Dreamcast, I think, and it's Samba de Amigo. This is Samba de Amigo Virtual Party by Sega. 25 quid, $30 for the standard version, 36 quid, $40 for the deluxe version, which includes some of the DLC. So I picked this one up. And it's a music rhythm game where you shake your maracas, and it's fun. It's another rhythm game. Things come towards you. You hit the balls that come towards your maracas, and that's pretty much it. It's like it's in the synth rider sort of vein of things, maybe. And I don't know what else to say. It's a music rhythm game, and I've enjoyed what I've played of it. I really don't. I'm really stuck of what else to say. Really, it's just another one to add to the collection if you enjoy that sort of thing. I'm not inherently a fan of music rhythm games, but I do like them. I still think Beat Saber's probably has always been my go-to game. Other games have come and gone, like Audica or Pistol Whip, Synth Riders, whatever. Beat Saber's always the one I go back to. There's Ragnarok as well. That's actually another favourite, I think, Ragnarok, when it comes to the music stuff. But this one's just fun, and it's got that retro, old school Sega vibe to it, with with that typical Sega voiceover, what you'd expect. It's done well enough. If you're looking for another music rhythm game, it's worth a go. What I will say, if you're going to buy the deluxe one, the thing to do is probably find a referral code for the base game. So get you 25% off on that, and then you can sort of buy the deluxe version with a discount because you already own the base game. But I did do that, but I did it via the web page, because on the actual Oculus app, for some reason it wouldn't let me. It wouldn't let me pay the difference. It got confused about some DLC. But when I did it through a desktop, just through a browser, it worked fine, and you'll probably save yourself a $5 there. I don't think either of you guys have played this, have you?
No, I've not. No interest in this one.
Yeah, it's sort of just a bit of. I sort of vaguely remember it. I think I've got a feeling I played it on a friend's Dreamcast and on an import one way back in the day, but I never actually owned it. But yeah, I really can't say any more apart from it's well done. It's a fun rhythm game. If you like, you'll know if you like that sort of thing. If you like Synth Riders, if you like Beat Saber, and you want another music rhythm game, what's Sega based? Yeah, go for it. It's got Sonic the Hedgehog in it. I really can't say anything more about it. It just
you know what you're going to get. Look at the video and you know what you're going to get. I think.
Look at the video and it is what it is. Absolutely.
Very arcade in it. It's like the arcade ones. When they're jumping up and down on those squares, out forward square, backward square, and they're dancing and stuff like that. It kind of reminds me of that.
It does feel like a more of an arcadified music game. Yeah. Next on the list, this is a bit of an old one, and I never played it past a very early beta version. We've got Into the Radius down here, Lee.
Yeah. Now, the reason I've got into it is because my good friend Viran, who very kindly let me use his footage that you're seeing on the YouTube video now, was telling me about how amazing it was on the Pico, and he told me it was 50 hours of game time on a standalone. So that's kind of piqued my interest. And I do own this game on PC VR, but I've never been able to get it to run right on my PC. I don't think it's just powerful enough. I know they have added like DLSS and things like that now, so I could probably stream it and get it running right. But I was intrigued because I know it's had a Quest 3 enhancements pack kind of thing added over the top of it. So I got that to try, and using our mentioned earlier, the Quest Game Optimizer, man, it was so good. I can see everything so crystal clear. I can see scratches on walls, and I was just walking around looking at things like that. But it's, for people who don't know it, it's a really heavily optimized on survival mode. So imagine like Bear Grylls type thing. This is basically like that. You've got a backpack, you've got your guns, your weapons, you've got food, drinks, and even things like cleaning the weapons, because over time they will degrade, so you have to clean them with WD-40. Well, not WD-40, obviously that would be the spray that looks like that, and clean your weapons. But I got as far as the second mission, and then I was dying constantly all the time. But yeah, go watch Viran's video and see how you're supposed to play it properly. But no, I can see me losing some hours in this big time. I really got into it, but yeah, it's so hard. Just the atmosphere as well. As soon as you walk out and you walk out like your base, really, and then it loads up as into this mysterious land where you are, and everything's upside down. There's trucks in the air. You don't know what's going off. But all the interactions of where your guns are, where things are placed on your chest, they're all perfectly placed. So you can grab a flashlight from the top of your chest. You grab like a beeper thing from one side. You've got knives on each arms. And you can move these up and down as well. And so in settings, you can move your arms up a little bit or down, so you can get them set up to the length of your arms perfectly as well. So when you're looking under the headset and then look back in the headset, everything's lined up perfect. And yeah, I really enjoyed what I played, and I'll definitely be going into it some more. Whether I'll be able to do 50 hours, I don't know, because I'm just not that good enough to get that far. But yeah, go check Viran out, and I think he's doing a full playthrough of it.
Nice. Yeah, I do recall it from, say, way back in the, sort of, it was I think it must have been when they first released an alpha or beta test of it, and it was, I mean, back then it was very sort of rough. But I never went back. I never kept up with it. I never went back. But I was never into the Stalker sort of games on PC. Yeah,
very similar.
And this just looks sort of basically like Stalker, and they never sort of grabbed me, those games. So I just
it's hard. It's not forgiving at all. Like I say, I was getting hammered on the second mission, totally getting hammered. But yeah, I mean, I ran it before I put the Quest Game Optimizer on as well. So I ran it as normal, how it should be, and then I ran it with the HD Plus on the Quest Games Optimizer, and the difference. Do you know what I mean? It was just a game changer.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah, so go check that out.
Yeah, I think it's something like 22. I can't remember the exact price. I think it's $22.99 on the store, but I'll leave a little cheeky 25% off code surely in the description if you want to go pick it up, and then it makes it about £16, I think. Then
there you go. Support the podcast. So, Genotype, next one on the list.
Yeah.
This is by Bolvert Games.
Yes.
25 quid, $35. It's basically by the guys who did the Dick Wilde games, which sort of surprised me. So we've played this on Quest, and Gary, I think you've probably played it more than we have.
Yeah, I think it's only available on Quest at the moment, as far as I know. I don't know if they've got plans to bring it to other platforms, but yeah. So this is like a science fiction action adventure, I would say. In the vein of, it's not in the vein of Red Matter 2, but it's because it's far more action. It's far less puzzles and far more action focused. But you're in a science fiction base. Wandering around, and the premise is that, it's in sort of the Antarctic. It's set in the Antarctic, and you've contracted. So this base has been infested with these horrific kind of enemies, and you've contracted this disease basically from this, and you're sort of in a race against time in order to get a cure. And this person is guiding you through. You've got like communication with this person that's guiding you through, telling you what to do in order to get to this cure. Now, I've played about 3 hours of this so far, and I mean, I would say that I guess the unique selling point of this game is some of the game mechanics that it has. So you get all of your skills and your weapons and these kinds of things are all 3D printed from these special gloves that you wear. So you can pull out this little cord from your glove, and it will, depending on how far you pull this cord out, you'll get different weapons and skills, and it 3D prints an addition, like a little alien thing that attaches to your glove. And these aliens can range from being just a gun to shoot, different types of guns. Then you've got utilities as well, where you can grab certain things from a distance, and then you've got like flamethrowers, and then you've got also other mechanics that you get a little bit later on. I don't want to spoil too much on this, because there's various interesting things that it does with that. In fact, I might give a little spoiler if you're very sensitive to spoilers. This is not a spoiler, it's just really giving away a game mechanic. But you pull out this one which is called the Brain Link. So then you can sort of transport yourself into this tiny little scurrying thing to get through these vents and stuff, to get to areas that you can't usually get to. And these all play a part in sort of wider puzzles and stuff. But anyway, that's sort of the root of the game. Now, I am really enjoying this. I really like it. I think that I like the fact, first of all, single player narrative kind of experience, but it feels quite, the production values feel quite well done as well on this. I think they've put a relatively good level of polish on it, although I do think that there's a little way to go with certain aspects on that as well. And just quickly, actually, let me quickly mention there is a Quest 3 update. So we're basically playing on Quest 3s, but there is a Quest 3 specific update that is supposed to be coming next week. I'll just put up this screenshot here as well. So the developers sent me this just to say that they're adding things like, I believe, a resolution increase as well. I've not had confirmation on that, but I think they mentioned that originally. But of course, from this sort of side-by-side screenshot, they're adding different lighting effects and stuff into this game as well with the Quest 3. So that will add to the graphics. Basically, what I would love is to have a resolution bump. That's the main thing.
Gary, Quest Game Optimizer.
That's the thing.
That's how I'm playing it this morning.
Bang it up a bit. Just bang it up and see what sort of frame rates you're getting, because you can also download on that. Sorry, just to butt in, like Quest Games Optimizer, you can download like a little a graph thing, can't you, Roger? That tells you how many frames you're getting, what speed it's running at, etc., stuff like that. So you can tweak that and keep going up and up until you've got it something that
get like that's reliable. You can install the Oculus Metrics tool, can't you? Alongside it.
Yeah, I've installed that. I've been looking at that in certain other stuff as well. But this is the thing. I'm trying to keep the Quest 3 as more like a console type of approach. Although one of the things when you were talking about that Quest Games Optimizer, one of the interesting things that crossed my mind is that really, although you've got a console, by having these profiles and stuff, everybody's on the same baseline, aren't they? So it makes it so much easier to tweak things or have that option at least.
And if you don't want to tweak it, you just launch it from that optimizer, and it's like, it'll just auto load one of the profiles for you, and it'll tell you at the bottom when it's loading. It's like. We're not sponsored by them, by the way. We just think it's a really good app.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like I said, Into the Radius looked absolutely fantastic. It really it sharpened up the text and everything. There was such a huge difference. I told Viran to get it, and I said, "Dude, it looks great. But you need to get this."
But Genotype. Anyway, yeah. So I think it's interesting. It's got this game mechanic anyway, which provides different stuff. I mean, on the surface, what I will say is this is your basic sci-fi adventure. In many ways, it's sort of your paint by numbers kind of sci-fi VR adventure that you're going through. And I think that game mechanic just adds, where you are 3D printing these extra additions, these extra skills, just adds a little bit extra to it. And honestly, I'm happy with that anyway. I just like a single player narrative game which is based in something like this. In some ways, it reminds me of Alien Isolation, not in gameplay at all. I don't mean that in gameplay.
But the kind of vibe of it, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The kind of vibe. You're wandering around this base and you've got different areas with enough variety in these areas where so you've got like a medical wing and stuff, and you'll see all of these beds that are tipped over and stuff where things have obviously gone wrong, and that reminds me of Alien Isolation. Now, gameplay wise, it's nothing like that. It's more sort of very sort of action based, and getting your head around some of these weapons as well is part of the game, I think, because I was struggling at certain times. I was getting really frustrated at certain times, and then all of a sudden I get a little upgrade on one of these weapons, and all of a sudden I'm breezing through some of these other areas as well. So it's sort of balancing all of these things. But yeah, I enjoyed it. But Rog, what do you think?
Yeah, well, I wasn't. Because we knew there was like a Quest 3 sort of version in the works, I was going to hold off on it, and then I saw you'd put it on the notes for the podcast, so I thought, well, I'll jump in and have a look. And basically, I played it until my headset ran out. I did have a battery on the back, but it had already been used some, and then, I mean, I think I got about 2 hours in maybe, and all of a sudden my headset was at like 4 or 5%, so I basically had to stop. But yeah, I enjoyed what I played. What I've played so far. I see what you mean with the whole sort of Alien Isolation thing, and bizarrely, I was going to say the thing what I found missing from it. It could do with taking a few audio cues from Alien Isolation, because that had Alien Isolation. One of the brilliant things about it was the sound design, and the sound design managed to just evoke dread all the time, at least for me. And this game can get to the points where sometimes you'll hear bits of music or kicking, and then a lot of the time there's just nothing there, and it needs something. It needs either a lot of sort of like sound effects or something going off, or it needs a soundtrack. It needs something there, because occasionally when you're walking from one place to another, it can be a very quiet sort of experience, and it's just missing something on the atmosphere side. I think the sort of sound design might be a large part of it. I don't know.
Well, just quickly on that as well, I will say that there's certain sections where you're right. You'll go into a certain section and you'll get this sort of vibe of the sound will change, and you'll think, okay, so we've got enemies in here. Sometimes there will be enemies, sometimes there won't. But also, you go into another section and you'll get a beat of music that will go on. And like a little melodic tune as well that goes along with it. But it's so short and it repeats. And this is one of the things I was going to mention. There's sections of really repetitive music that feels like it's literally sort of 10 seconds of music looped over and over again at places. At least I noticed that in one section.
What got me at one point was I was walking along, I'm thinking, has this game got any music in it? I honestly couldn't remember or not. And then a few minutes later, I was just walking through an area and a bit of music kicked in. And like you said, it was very short. It barely lasted and nothing happened in the game. Yeah. It's just some music popped up, played for 20 seconds and then went away again. And I was like, hey? It just seemed a bit real. It just seemed really odd. But yeah, it is well done. It's just, I know that they're doing the Quest 3 update and everything. I just wish they could put something in what sort of created more suspense in places. Because it's not a scary game. There's not really. I don't think there's any jump scares or anything like that. I think not that I've seen anyway.
They try to emulate that kind of thing. So one of the things I mentioned in the Discord to you guys is with these jumping like the head crabs basically in Half-Life Alyx. You have these kinds of enemies, and what they'll do is you'll go into certain areas and you can repeatedly go into these areas, and it will sort of reset, and they'll have these enemies drop in again, and these are things that jump at you, little tiny scurrying enemies, and all the doors will lock, and it can be dark in there as well, and sometimes I think it just creates a little bit of tension where you're trying to find them, but it's not done to the point, of course it's not done to the point of Half-Life Alyx or anything like that, but I think it's trying to invoke that little bit of tension in those kinds of sections.
It's just I wish sometimes it had sort of parts where maybe you're walking through somewhere, and maybe, I don't know, maybe some pipes from the ceiling could sort of, I don't know, maybe just drop down or have a bit of an explosion, or some, a bit like I'll keep saying Alien Isolation, but a lot of the first part of that game where you're walking through, it was creating tension just by like an air pipe had burst, or some flames had come out from a pipe, or you'd see the station had shift and something had fall down, and I know it's a much lower budget game and everything, but just something simple every now and again, just to make you think something could happen at any time. And that's the thing with it, is I never once in sort of 2 hours sort of went anywhere with sort of any sort of trepidation, thinking something might happen here. I just thought, I'm going to go into here, the door's going to lock, I'm going to shoot some enemies, I'm going to grab the items I need, and then I'm going to go back out again. But yeah, it's done well enough. It's worth your time, I think.
Oh, definitely,
especially if you're a dedicated quest gamer, then probably more so.
I think, Sorry, Lee. Did you? Have you played much of this?
I played bits of it. I mean, I was being a bit of a snob, and I think Rog quite rightly corrected me on this when I said, I don't want to play Quest 2 games no more on my Quest 3. I want to play super high res, Dungeons of Eternity quality style games. And like Rog, like you quite rightly said, you might have been, doing this game for 2 years, and obviously they've not had a Quest 3 to do it on. But for them to be bringing out a Quest 3 update so quickly, I mean, it's been out, what, a week, 2 weeks, something like that?
Yeah.
So, to bring something out like that, then I'll definitely give it a go. Then I played for about maybe an hour. I got the second monster thing on your hand. I'd got that. That's as far as I got. But I was quite, it was all right for us playing. I was getting into it, but I was sucked. I think it's what you're doing now in the video, Gary, where you have to it sticks its tongue out and you have to pull it towards you. Yeah, I was no good at that.
Yeah.
This is the thing. So this video is one I recorded pretty close to like when I hadn't really got my head around how to use the weapons. So it's a little bit embarrassing to watch this, but I'm getting better, and I think there's enough versatility in the weapons and how you can attack all these enemies as well. I really do enjoy it, and I also think that the upgrade system that you go through as well, it's got a lot of versatility in that and where you put certain things.
Yeah,
they've definitely put the work in the right areas, I think, with this game, and I think it's great. 3 hours in, I've held off. I wanted to go in yesterday to play some more, but knowing that this update's coming, I am trying to hold off, and I want to play the last half of it, because I think I'm 3 hours in, and I think it's around 6 hours, 7 hours, people are saying, and I want to play that last half of the game with those enhanced graphics.
It kind of got me thinking it's a bit like a David Cronenberg film type thing, with like all the monsters and the thing on your hand, like a monster as well, different aliens and stuff like that. So it kind of got me a bit like that.
I will say one criticism I forgot to mention in mine as well. Like, there's certain points in this where it does it almost screams its sort of indie roots in some ways, and I think overall they've done a great job in making it a fantastic, polished experience. But there's certain sections, and I've mentioned this in other games, like you use this grabber to pull these sort of these enemies off doors. In certain sections, and it's like as soon as you grab them, the asset, which is this alien enemy, disappears immediately, and you're left with
fades
this
away, don't it? Yeah,
it fades away, and then you're left with this tiny little spurt of green, and you just think, I want that to feel more satisfying. I want a bigger effect in that kind of area. But it's a small nitpick to really bring up, but it just did jump out at me. That did.
Yeah, but at least these guys have actually are actually sensible enough to realise that an analog stick has actually got a range of motion. Like I mentioned when I think we were talking about Seventh Guest. Yeah, it's like your analog stick is like your full range of motion. You don't have to click anything in or hold something if you want to go more than like a crawling pace or a walk. push your stick full whack, and that's your top speed then. And it's like, I know it's a small thing. It's like, but why don't other people do that? I just don't understand it. One thing I will say is, although the turning speed on this is absolutely fine, and I didn't have any issue with the default turning speed, the default turning speed does seem to be all you get. There's no slider.
Yeah.
So, while it isn't an option and their default speed is a good one, still give people that option. I don't think there's anything else.
No. I mean,
really.
I'll just say I do recommend this one. How much is it? It's £24.99. So
yeah,
I think that's a reasonable price for this game. Yeah,
I mean, but it can be even cheaper with our 25% off discount that we will give you a little link for in the description. There's a reason why I keep saying this. I'll get to it later.
Yeah. So yeah, £25 for $35. Yeah, it's good. And I say you might want to hold off for the Quest 3 update if you're running a Quest 3. Sort of semi-obligatory Walkabout mini golf mention. Widow's Walkabout came out.
Is that a new game? I don't recall any mention of Walkabout mini golf on this before. Is this a new game?
We've waxed his mind again, haven't we? We really should stop doing that. Yeah, so this is basically like they've brought this one out for Halloween, haven't they, this new course? Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, I'll second that. Yeah, I think it's fine. It does what all of these. They're all good, aren't they? So it's.
But I think we are slipping into that type of thing where we're complacent with them now.
Yes.
But I'll admit, I think this is one of the better ones that they brought out just recently. Maybe it's the Addams Family vibe thing that I've got into, and the actual when you view it from above as well, and you see the course as you do when you're like a giant head, you can see little ghosts like flying around and stuff like that, and that was really cool, nice little thing they added onto it. Plus the actual nighttime, well, say the nighttime course, the harder course, it is, well, you can see from this trailer anyway. So a little spoiler here, is all in black and white, so very Monsters type. Boris Karloff genre, and that was really good to play. I really enjoyed this course. I think, definitely think it's one of the better ones out there.
Right, I've still not played the hard mode on this yet.
No, I've not either.
Right, the looking for the club clues, man. It's one of the best ones I've played. But there's number 11. Right, I'm putting it out there. It was an absolute nightmare. It took about 45 minutes. I was like, where's Rog when you need him? I even thought about actually ringing you, Rog, and saying, look, can you get in this game and find this clue for me, because I can't find it anywhere. But when you find it, you will be like, yeah, explicit, you're not very happy.
Oh dear. If anybody ever does get stuck on the clues for that, I think, is it Inner Princess, the YouTube channel, always does a walkthrough of where to find everything. So
I mean, I did that with Welsh Gamer. He actually asked me for help with the clues, and I'm like, dude, you're asking the wrong person here. The guy always asks Rog. So I think he put a video out on Welsh Gamer's channel, and we were looking for the clues on that one. So if you want to check that out as well, it's quite funny, amusing, especially Clue 11, like I said.
Next up, anyway, Intersolar 83 update, Gary.
Yeah, just a quick one on this. So I mentioned this in a few episodes ago, where there's a demo out for this upcoming game, Intersolar 83. So it's sort of a retro kind of space game in some aspects, and it just looked really interesting to me. And I just wanted to make people aware, really, that the demo has been updated. It's got enhanced graphics. One of the criticisms I had when I first went in was the textures on the planet's surface and stuff like that didn't really look that great, and it was very flat as well. So they've done multiple graphics updates on this demo. I just encourage people that are into space games and stuff to go over and give it a try. But also, just to quickly mention that if you are interested in it, then the Kickstarter for the game, for the full game, and I don't know the ambitions for the full game, how far they're going to go with it, but it launches on November the 12th for those that are interested. And as always, I don't know, it's a Kickstarter, so you've got to be careful on what you back on Kickstarter and be comfortable that, it might not come to fruition. But this one, I've been in contact with the dev, and they seem to be, from what I've played so far, they're doing a great job with this. So, I'm interested in it.
yeah, it's like anything on Kickstarter, and it's Kickstarter. You pay your money, you take your chances.
Yeah.
We'll have to see how much he's wanting for the sort of basic thing. Kickstarter nowadays, I don't back that much. The stuff I do back is by established people in sort of the retro book scene and retro video game music scene. Now there's established people on there who've been doing stuff for years and who always deliver. So I tend to back that stuff because I do like my retro music, especially stuff like the Last Ninja stuff by Matt Gray, absolutely amazing. So I always back his stuff. I generally back the Crash and Zap annuals every year as well. Chris Wilkins as well, because they always deliver. But yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, you got to be prepared to lose the money that you back. That's basically it. Yeah,
you have, and this developer is also called First Time Games, so there's a clue there.
I will say as well, like, because I've only backed a couple of things on Kickstarter, and one of them is the Lynx R1, which I know I will be getting at some point. But yeah, you do. And it's not a bad deal with the Lynx R1. But the other thing I backed was a game a long time ago, and that just didn't seem to play out the way they wanted it to. So you never know, do you? That's how it
I mean, I've backed quite a lot over the years, and I think I've had 2 or 3 cheap things fail. As in the $10 sort of range. But for the stuff I've backed and got early discounts on, whether it's games or books or whatever, it's more than covered any of my $30 of loss or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But the old Oculus DK1 was my very first thing I ever backed.
Yeah.
So
some
of it works out.
Just so I will just say, there's a demo available. See what you think of the demo and make a decision based on that. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, definitely. Dungeons of Eternity. You wanted to talk about this again?
Yes. I love it. Oh. It's my favourite game. Oh, that's weird. Have I put the resolution in?
No.
Yeah, I know what. Yeah. Okay. So apologies for that. It looks like for some bizarre reason, if you're watching the video, okay.
It's gone wrong.
I don't know what's going on with the video there.
I have got it scaled right in OBS.
Yeah, it should be 1920 by 10. I may have scaled that thinking about it because it was a 2K video on YouTube that I put out. So it might be me what's done that.
No, you're absolutely wrongly. It's me. It's absolutely me. I just realised I had the wrong thing highlighted.
And people don't think we record this live, so there's your proof.
Yeah. There we go. We're back on.
There we go. Yeah. Fix it in post, as to say.
I just wanted to talk about it because this has taken over my life. I'm playing this 2 hours a day. Every night, I'm literally on it. I'm level 14 now, Rog, so I don't know what level you are. But yeah, it's getting harder. When we first started playing it, I was like, well, it's not really that much difficulty. There are a million health potions still. But man, I mean, I went in with Walsh Gamer last night and Dodge from Dodge's Gaming Corner, the VR gaming veteran, I think it's called now. But we only did like 2 runs completed. We sucked and we died. Every other thing we had to go on. But it's just the game mechanics I love. It's the music, and it's just the little things as well. Like I think, did we mention it, Rog? When you're changing, you've got like a base where you can change your outfit and your loadout and things like that. And if you walk over, it's like bookcases, and you can run your hand over these bookcases, and you'll feel the haptics and the triggers, and your fingers start to move, like as if they're actually over things that you're interacting with. There's little touches like that I really like. But I did find a few more bugs with it that I've made the devs are aware of it, and I think they are bringing a patch out soon. I actually was facing this giant monster with like eyes, and it killed me, and then I dropped through the world.
Oh dear.
And then it brought me back to life, only for the monster to grab me and eat me again and kill me. And then I dropped through the world again, and it kept doing that till it killed it. But it kept coming up with like little notes on the screen saying, "You have found a bug." as if they like knew about it intentionally. I don't know if it was supposed to be in there or what, but it was really weird. It kept coming up like, "Oh, you've done it again." I was like, well, what's going on? Didn't know about this, but yeah, we just had such a fantastic time. And the only thing I will say is, I know it's like by chance, isn't it? You got like chests that you put keys in, and it's like, oh right, well, am I going to get a blueprint for a new weapon? And then in your base, you can spend coins and print these weapons out. But I got like some sort of Gandalf power stick, a rare one. I thought, oh, that's cool. But I then got the same one out the next 2 massive chests that I found, and I thought, It would be a shame I can't like gift it to Rog or gift it to someone who's not a higher level as me. Say, hey, you can have this rare stick now. You can use it as well. But I know it's like just chance of what you get picking. But that was like a little thing what annoyed me a bit because I wanted better gear. But no, it's such a good game.
Have this rare stick that I've got 3 of.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But you can only print one out. But I don't even know. I've not even looked because you get unique as well, don't you? You get common, I think unique and rare. I don't even know if rare's supposed to be better than unique or what, because I've been too busy playing the game to even be bothered to have a look. It's that good. It's the co-op game of the year for me, easy.
Yeah, well, what I'll say is, because you can play this single player. I've only been in a few times, really. But I do, honestly, I really do want to get in with you guys and play this. Because if you play this as a single player game, I think you'll be struggling. I am, anyway. And I know I'm not the best at games, but this is really quite difficult when you're on your own to get through these. So, yeah, I need to go in there with you guys and play a little bit more. One of the things, when you use a sword, I find that when I'm parrying the enemies, it doesn't work as well as I want it to. It's like it still goes through and gets me, even though I'm blocking it exactly where it's coming from. I still feel like I'm not able to parry in the right way for some reason.
No, I've had no issues with that. I mean, I had a massive standoff yesterday. I got like a massive... It's like the one out of Indiana Jones. You know that bloke that's chucking it up and down, and then Indy pulls a gun out and shoots him? Well, I've got one of them, reference, Raiders Lost Ark. I've got one of those, and I've got like another sword as well. And I was doing both of them at the same time, like parrying about 4 or 5 skeletons, and I was blocking them and chopping the heads off and blocking them and chopping the head off. I felt like Sinbad. They're amazing.
It's probably me, and it's probably me. It's just I always remember stuff in Vanishing Realms, that parry thing working really well, and in this, it just didn't feel like it was blocking them in the way I wanted it to. But it's probably me, and
they do parry the weapons as well. You know, if you're because I like the throwing action in this. You throw the daggers and the swords, and they can they jump out of the way, or they can use their weapons, and they smack it out of the way as well, which is really quite clever.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good game, though. There's no doubt. I mean, this is like one of the best games to release on Quest, I think, for the past year or so. It's got to be up there.
I don't know if the developer, I mean, is it Other Gate, right? And I don't know if they've got any more games out, if this is the first VR game or what. I don't know, but yeah, it's a must-buy. I'm getting more and more enjoyment out of it. And I know we're going to mention a game later on that's kind of co-op that's perhaps not been getting the best reviews, but with this... I mean, all the levels are procedurally generated. You do see some rooms, you go in and sometimes you think, I recognise this from before. But we played one yesterday. We were on it like 45, 50 minutes. There was like 15 different rooms to it. And the scale and everything to it's just massive. And we're having it's just a massive laugh when you're laughing at your mate who's dying on the floor. And I was like running around and they were busy having a conversation because they were both dead. And I said, look, I've got 2 massive skeletons. And all they were doing was laughing because I just kept doing laps while I was running round and round trying to kill these scorpions because I'm not so good at killing those. But... yeah, I'm really loving it. It's fantastic.
I've not been in it probably for this last week or so, but it's definitely a must play if you're a Quest gamer. Definitely.
I think it's like £22, $22.99. But if you check it out in the description, there'll be a 25% off link.
Well, what we should say is...
get it cheaper.
What we should say is, until further notice, there's a 25% link in the description.
Yeah. But I will explain why, I promise later.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's this. I mean, I love the game. I can't wait to get in it. I'm looking forward to getting in it tonight. Rog, if you're free later, we'll have to jump in. Now, I just apologise because I know people have been wanting us to play this and put a video out. Now, unfortunately, we couldn't quite get together last week, but the footage you're seeing now is from a video that I put out on YouTube, and it's a bit of a tongue-in-cheek thing. I just recorded the footage just to see what it looked like. Really, I was trying to see if it was stabilised and that, and then I sort of did like a bit of a themed voiceover just for a bit of a giggle, and it's had like 1,300 views or something daft. So thanks to anyone who's watched it because I wasn't expecting any. So yeah, I appreciate that.
People obviously love those salty Quest 2 tears.
That's it. And like Roger put, when I'd had on Discord, I've had so many views on this, and Roger's put, it's the thumbnail.
And there it is.
Like, so cold. I was like, oh, there we go.
Hold on, where's the thumbnail?
I think I sent you.
I have got that thumbnail somewhere.
I sent Gareth the thumbnail for it. But yeah, just on about views as well. I just want to thank everybody. I just want to thank Gary for not getting that right, and then I want to thank. I don't know what's going up here.
No, that's because I've just added that one in.
Yeah, I know, and now it's gone. Now it's gone to a different size.
Hold on.
I'm sure we'll get it right, but yeah, I just want to thank everyone that's subbed lately to the channel And I mean, last time we had 1,100 views on the last video about Quest 3 when Steve Carney joined us. So yeah, I want to thank everyone for subbing and liking, and yeah, please remember to hit that sub button if you do like this professional VR experience you're getting now. Podcast. So yeah, that's done now.
I thought I added that into OBS. This has been a nightmare. I added that in just now, and that's why it wasn't scaled.
So that is me.
Thing I can't explain.
Yeah, with the sword. So that's kind of cool.
Oh dear! It just stood there. Looks like you should be going for Frodo.
For Frodo, yeah. And that I actually took a picture of my head in the hallway with my phone, and like my daughter was like, "What are you doing?" and I was struggling to balance the quest on my head.
You know what I'm doing.
Yeah, and then I think I spent quite a bit of time. I had really loads of fun making that thumbnail just for a laugh. You know what I mean? And that's all it is really. My VR stuff. I just do it for a bit of fun. But yeah, I enjoy doing that. Yeah. And so yeah, there you go. Hope that came out okay.
Oh man. Anyway, that's what we've been playing over the past couple of weeks. As for any sort of topic we've got this week, well, we had a few ideas, and apparently a few of them have been crossed out that I've only just seen.
Yeah.
But we probably should really get into sort of the Quest 3 a few weeks later. The good things, the bad things. Anybody want to kick this one off?
Yeah, I still love it. I think the Quest 3 is still great. Honestly, there's not much that I can really comment on beyond what we said last time. I think having used it a bit more, I'm still using the mixed reality stuff a lot. And I do use virtual desktop just to use my desktop PC in my office in my living room quite a bit. Really, yeah. And I quite like that aspect of it, and I know not everybody will get that use out of it, but I like having that option in there. And just going through some of the stuff that I've played, like I mentioned at the beginning, Miracle Pool, table tennis, it's been a lot of mixed reality stuff, but at the same time I think I'm looking forward, and well, the updates, I think that's the main thing. The updates to the games is interesting as well, so that's my experience, and getting into PC VR with it, playing Elite Dangerous, so good. It's so good in the Quest 3. It really is.
I've been jumping into Aircar quite a few times. It's getting ridiculous. I'm turning into you. It's like, I mean, I can only sort of think back to what it was like in the Pimax, but still jumping in on the Quest 3, I was surprised at how good it looked. And it's one of those things again, and that's, it must be the sort of like the bright colours and the neon stuff. What's on there? It sort of when you look at, it drowns out the sort of greyness of the LCD.
Yeah. Because
you've got areas of bright light all over the place, and so the sort of bits of black areas in there do actually sort of look quite black. And that cityscape, it looks like nothing. It still looks like nothing else in VR, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah.
I've sat in a couple of times over these past few weeks, probably for half an hour at a time or so, just flying around and not even doing anything else, not even listening to a podcast or anything. And it's like, why isn't this a game? And it's
it's like what it is. I think that Aircar experience is like you're seeing everything from a distance, and what it is, it's like your imagination just thinking all of this activity in this city, what is going on in all of these, but nothing's going on in all of these buildings because it's an experience, but you just it invokes that kind of imagination, I think. And I think that's the aspect that draws me into it, because you just think if this was a game and you could land and you could go into these buildings and speak to NPCs or whatever, all of that stuff that you want. Love it.
So basically lo-fi.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah, you never know.
Possibly, yeah. It's I was never a fan of Technolust, in all honesty.
No,
it never hit home for me. So I hope lo-fi sort of can improve
just on that
drastically.
Is that because didn't that get taken off the PlayStation Store now as well, because it was supposed to be coming this year, but I think I've heard some people mention that it's actually been taken off the store. But anyway, I've not looked into that, so I can't. Don't trust my second hand impressions on that.
Yeah. one of the problems I've had, and Lee can attest to this, I think the last time we played Dungeons of Eternity, I think it was me, you, and Scorpio playing.
Yeah.
I had some severe tracking problems, and I mean severe. It just kept the hand tracking just kept losing it in the space of this, like, you know, this hour we were playing or whatever. And it's such a, I'm pretty sure that when I do have the problems, it is the lighting conditions in this room, which are still not improved. But the bizarre thing is, it's like the following day, and I was trying again yesterday, that I can have times where I just can't break the tracking. If I sit there and try and break it, it won't, and other times it just will, and I just don't understand it. It's such a, my lighting condition must be just so borderline that occasionally it works fine, and then other times it just doesn't.
Well, I've done that. I've done that test that you did.
Yeah,
and
yeah, me too.
Mine didn't break at all. I can't get it to
break. Mine either.
One thing I did say, and I think you said, Lee, it didn't work that great, was PD put a video out of him playing it in the dark.
Yeah.
So I turned all my lights out and I tried it in the dark, and as long as those tracking LEDs on the face of the controllers are facing you, it tracks.
Yeah.
Which is like, oh well, Quest 2 didn't do that. But as soon as you turn those LEDs
as soon as you turn them
away,
around, they don't. It locks
gone.
up.
But that's what was happening when I was playing, even in a lit condition.
I've got cramp in my leg. Hold on. Hold on, one sec. I'll mute this. Carry on talking.
Medical emergency.
Yeah, but because it's using that combination of the LEDs and the hand tracking supposedly as well.
Yeah,
you think, yeah. So of course, like I understand the hand tracking wouldn't work in the dark room and stuff. But you were saying when you tried it, it did seem to work better when you did that little test thing at one point, and then it didn't. So
yeah, I say that I don't know whether it's just my lighting condition is so borderline. At one point, I had the sort of idea of, well, in the options for the Quest, there's like a 50-60 hertz mode, isn't there, for lighting conditions?
Yeah.
Because obviously our lighting runs on.
I'm back. My leg's okay, by the way. Carry on.
Wow, train of thought's just entirely gone.
The lights, 50-60 hertz.
50-60 hertz.
That's it, yeah. I thought, well, if the lights are at 50, well, my TV's at 60, so I thought maybe there's maybe there's some sort of conflict. Yeah, and I turned the TV off, and instantly my tracking was spot on again. I thought, oh, yeah, 10 minutes later, it went again, even with the TV off. So I don't know whether that was just happened to be a total coincidence.
Do you know what?
Or what?
What about if you get... because you can see the LEDs, can't you, through a camera phone? Can you see them through that? Or I'm just wondering if you can see if there's any fault on the LEDs cutting out or something like that on your controllers.
Yeah,
because I don't know if that will play a part. But
I mean, there's plenty of them. I couldn't see your hands covering them or anything. I would have thought that would affect it as bad as what Rog did.
I think Matt say, and I keep saying it, but the lighting in this room is not ideal at all. And there's a lot of the room is fairly sort of dark, you know. It's sort of like, you know, decoration wise, these are not bright walls or anything to reflect light off. Even the curtains. It's so yeah, it could be that. I did at one point. One day I was gonna go outside. Because it was like, I thought it's a nice overcast day. I can take it outside and have a look. But it literally rained for 2 days solid. It's like so, and then by the time it stopped, I just couldn't be bothered. I don't know. It's been okay recently. I've not had any problems over the past few days. So I don't know. At least Meta have got like a track record of improving things.
Yeah, yeah.
My only worry is they've also got a track record of breaking things.
Oh yeah, they definitely do that with the firmware updates. Have you seen anything about the battery? Yeah. Did you see that? I think I put it in Rendered Reality Discord when they said to alleviate some of the uses of the battery. They're going to give you an option so you can basically turn down the graphical quality settings of your Quest to save some battery life. So basically, you could turn your Quest 3 into a Quest 2 just to save some battery life.
It's like,
let's all do that. What a brilliant idea.
It's poor, isn't it? It's really poor. The whole battery situation is probably the worst thing at the moment. And the whole BOBO thing as well. It's like...
Yeah, well, do you want to get into that Bobo thing? Because I'm a little bit out of the loop on this. I know that it's got some problems and there's some issues, but I don't really know that many details on it. I'm using, because I ridiculously bought that Elite battery strap, and even that's having problems anyway. That's an official product, and apparently that's having issues as well, with people not charging when it should charge, and stuff. So I think there seems to be just some inherent issues with what's going on with the power consumption on the Quest 3, but what is going on with the Bobo battery situation?
I don't know, but I know mine buzz all the time.
See, I can't hear mine buzzing unless it's because I'm that old. I mean, I'm partly deaf, so unless it's the frequency that I can't hear and I don't pick up on it. But I've not noticed mine buzzing or getting warm. I have noticed it reacting different ways to different experiences, though. Like, when my daughter went into the 7th guest, I got my Quest 3 fully charged, my Bobo battery fully charged, and she was on like an hour, 20 minutes maybe. And I checked and it had used 4 lights of the Bobo battery. If you've got a Bobo, you know what I'm on about. It had used 4 lights of the battery, so it was just down to the last one, I think. Or used 3 down to the last one. And my Quest 3 was 94% charged still.
Yeah.
But when I play Dungeons of Eternity, and they're both fully charged, it doesn't seem to be using the Bobo battery until the Quest gets down to around about 40%. And then I got down to about 45%, then it started using the Bobo, and then it started going like, 41, 38, very slowly, while it was using the battery. So I'm not entirely sure what's going off.
Does the Bobo itself, like the battery strap itself, just cut out if it's getting too hot? Does it stop itself from charging?
I don't know. Well, the thing, my experience with it is when I've got a battery on the back, it will sustain the internal battery at around about 97, 98% until the Bobo battery dies. At which point then the headset
Quest 2 wise, it used to do that, didn't it? It used to use all the Bobo battery first, then start depleting the Quest 2 battery. Whereas this, it's either one or the other. It's either the Quest 3 is depleting, or the Bobo is depleting, or there's some power drain.
It's not
or
delivering
draw,
enough
not right.
anyway. Yeah, it's not delivering enough to keep it maintained on a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
but I mean, there's people that are talking, because there was, I mentioned this before we started recording to Lee, the Orbica one, saying fast charging 8,000 milliamp hours battery strap for the Quest 3. But it still doesn't make it clear if that will maintain charge on the Quest 3 while you're using it or not. It just says fast charging, and there's a wide range of what could be categorized as fast charging.
I think it's the draw, right? I think this is what I've read, so hearsay, out of court, but apparently it needs 9 watts to keep it, topped up or keep it constantly going. And I think the Bobo only gives out 5, doesn't it? So I don't know. It's just the need to try and work something out. Because I think that's what I'm seeing on the Bobo Discord, because I've been keeping an eye on it. I've been keeping an eye on the Discord basically to see when they've got stuff in stock, because that's been horrendous as it is. But everyone keeps saying, what are you going to do with the battery? Or eventually, I think what will happen is maybe they will release a battery. I'm just speculating here, so take it with a pinch of salt. That will give a 9-watt draw into it and be the same shape and the same style that you can clip onto your existing Bobo. But I don't know. I'm sure they're aware of the problem. I'm sure they are.
Yeah, I'm not up on the power draw and stuff. All I know is that the charger that comes with the Quest 3 can deliver 18 watts. And then but it will accept up to 25 watts if you've got a charger. Like I've got the Steam Deck comes with a 45 watt charger. So you can plug that in and it should really be charging the Quest 3 with 25 watts, because that's the most it can accept. And then it will charge it a lot quicker. But if what Lee's saying works out, then it needs 9 watts just to maintain charge while you're using it. And again, that will go up or down depending on the experience that you're using, I suppose. But if there's definitely like a deficit with the Bobo, isn't there? And the other thing people are mentioning is that maybe, because somebody posted on Reddit how they asked about this battery issue to Bobo, and they give this standard response of it's using like an elastic charging method, where the more it's being used, the more it will deliver up to a certain point, which is fine. You understand that, but people are saying that it won't that is just like a default response that they're giving, and really it won't it won't maintain charge, but they want to, get rid of all these batteries that they've got in stock before they try. I'm sure they'll rectify it. but yeah. Here's the thing. Look, they're in a difficult position, and they've not been able to get access to know any of this stuff until the Quest 3 has come out. So nobody expected this necessarily to be the case. But yeah, it's a tough one, because even with the wired link, people are saying it just can't maintain charge. No matter what you do in terms of wired link, you can't maintain charge while you're using it. It's always going to drain. So yeah, it's just very power hungry, isn't it, the Quest 3?
Well, I never even thought, when I first got it, I said to you guys, there's something wrong with this, because not my Quest 2, I just use my phone charger and plug it in, and then I'm like, it's been on charge for like 7 hours, and it's gone up to like 8%, and then Roger's like, no, you've got to use the proper charger that comes with it. So I've been using the proper charger and the cable that just come with it, and it charges in around about 2 hours, but I have to keep doing both now. Before I used to just, charge the BOBO up, the battery, and then plop it back on my Quest 2, because it was always topped up to like 90%, but it's just not the case now. There
have been more people on Discord having problems with charging and really slow charging.
Yeah.
And one of the things somebody posted was to sort of go into if you hold, I can't remember what it is now, but it's something to do with holding, is it the volume down and your power button, and it takes you into like the Quest into like a front end menu, and sort of go, into like almost like a BIOS menu, I suppose. Sort of go into that and then just reboot the headset via that option, and that seems to be sort of like helping people out, who've had this slow charging option or slow charging problem. But I don't know, it's just been a mess.
Yeah, but I mean, the battery draws more anyway. It's a bigger battery than what the Quest 2, and it draws more power, obviously, of course, the chip. And we spoke about this, and Steve made some valid comments last time when we spoke about it. But it is slightly infuriating, because I played with Walsh Gamer, and he says, look, I've got a full BOBO battery charge. In half an hour, that had gone. It had totally killed his battery off.
It's been so random with me, because it's like I can't remember what games it was I was playing, but when I first used the BOBO battery with it, it was like it was nowhere, any shape or form, lasting anywhere near an hour. Yeah, I'm sure I've gone into other stuff, and it's lasted past an hour.
Yeah.
So it's heavily dependent on what you're playing.
You have to keep checking all the time. This is the panic. I never used to panic before, but now I'm constantly pressing the Oculus menu button to see if it's charging, or to see what percent the Quest 3's at, because I'm panicked that it's going to just switch off.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I used the BOBO VR M2 on my previous Quest, but I also had the Elite battery strap for that one as well. And with either of them, I never worried. It was never a question. I was always going to finish playing VR before the battery, ran out. But now it's not that case at all. Even with the Elite battery strap, there's certain times where you can go into stuff, and I presume the Elite battery strap is delivering the right power to the headset to maintain charge. But
you'd hope so.
Yeah, but even then, it's very low capacity. It's something like 2,000 milliamp hours.
Yeah, it's like half, isn't it? It's like half of what the BOBO is.
Yeah, so it's still not providing that much really overall. And again, let me just quickly say, I don't know that much about all of this power charging and stuff like this. So I'm going on just experience and what I've read really secondhand on all of this stuff. But there's definitely a problem, because people are talking about it so much anyway.
Yeah, BOBO need to admit there's a problem. They'd get a lot more support if they just came out with it and said, look, the current batteries just aren't good enough. We're doing a new one. That's what they need to say.
Yeah. Or if it is something to do with, I don't know if it's anything to do with Meta, whether they've got it set to a certain limit so nothing overheats, or you don't know. This is the thing. No one's talking about it apart from speculation that you're seeing on Twitter, or what experiences people are having on Twitter. And it's all just like secondhand coming from me. But we've got the BOBO, and I'm just trying to convey across what experiences I've had with it. It's still charging it longer than what I was getting. I was only getting like an hour and a half out of it anyway, gaming wise. We're playing dungeons with the Quest 3 enhancements, about an hour and a half, Rog, right? So I'm getting more than that. But
there's enough of an issue with it to the point that I know a mate of mine wanted one of these, and I sent him a message saying, look, there's all these issues, these problems people reporting. This is what it's been like with mine. And it's like, I'd hold off on buying one. I just wouldn't recommend getting one at the minute.
No, I totally agree.
I'd see what they do, see if they fix it, see if they come out with a different battery, or see if somebody else comes out with a better product.
Yeah. I mean, I'm all about the BOBO stuff. I loved it. I've loved it from the, originally like the M2. But anyone, I mean, you can't really get stock at minute. It's in and out of stock within hours and stuff like that. But I'd hold off until we can get some sort of definitive answer, whether it's from us, in my professional experience.
Have you both got 2 batteries for the BOBO VR anyway?
I've only got one.
You've only got one,
I've got 2.
I was going to say, because in that case, if you've got 2, I mean, I know you're still not going to be able to charge one fast enough to like have infinite kind of use or anything.
Not with 2, no.
But you could, you'd get plenty of hours out of it, I think, for one session if you had 2 batteries either way. But, I guess that's sort of going around the point of it all.
It's like the thing is though, it really it can catch you by surprise because on the Quest 2 it had lost last long enough. Where it's like when I was playing that Genotype earlier on, I was suddenly shocked when my headset was suddenly at 5%. It was like, it caught me off guard because I know it wasn't a full battery I'd put on the back, but it was, I don't know how much it was in it, but I'd put it on there, and normally if I see there's only 2 lights left, I'll pick the other battery up if I'm starting a new session. But if there's like 3 lights on it or whatever, I'll keep using that one. I mean, I couldn't play. It was definitely no more than 2 hours altogether with the battery and the internal thing. But I had used that Quest Game Optimizer to turn the res up and everything. So it was probably pushing the GPU profile harder than it would have done normally. But it was suddenly a shock when the first warning came and I was at 4 or 5% on the headset.
Yeah,
it's like that just never used to happen with the Quest.
This is the thing, though. What a lot of people who know about this stuff more than me will say that it's the batteries that are really holding back this kind of technology. Really, it's the battery capacity, the battery power, the delivery system, and all of these things. It's battery technology which is holding back a lot of stuff. And when you see it in this case, because you just think it's got to react in a similar way to the Quest 2. I know that it's got this higher powered chip in it, but you would think that the way that usually works is you get the same power draw for increased efficiency. You get better power. That's the way these chips usually work. So in this case, it seems that it's got this more powerful chip, but it is drawing a hell of a lot more than the Quest 2 did. But it's a bit of a pain. It's definitely a pain on this standalone device. That
I mean, if you've got 4 hours on it, if it was a 4-hour battery lifetime, I don't think we'd even be talking about putting BOBO batteries on and stuff like that.
No,
and there'll be plenty of time for anyone to play any sort of games in standalone, or using virtual desktop and stuff. But because it's only, I mean, they stated like 2.5 hours, right? And I'm like, what?
No chance.
Not on my battery.
No,
not in a million years. It uses 1% a minute when I'm just chatting to someone in the bloody home thing.
I know.
Yeah. look, I think we've been grumpy old men on this for long enough now.
I
have. Way too much. But can I just say, I am not a battery expert, and I'm just going off stuff that I've read and seeing a few videos. I think like Jay Bratt, you said, Gary?
Jay Bratt.
I watched the video, and he was testing 6 BOBO batteries, and only one of them was working right. So we need to caveat. So, if we we'll comment on stuff that we know about. We really don't know that much about batteries, so we're just trying to give our experience on it. Really,
batteries done, gone, enough. So, past few weeks, what else has there been? There's that. If you remember, there was an app. It's basically like a Google Earth sort of app called Wooorld, spelt with 3 O's on it. And I think we did cover this on an earlier episode because
you did.
I did pick it up at the time. It's sort of gone free to use now for most of the normal features, and then it's a paid app if you want to unlock some of the premium stuff. I'm not entirely sure what the premium stuff gives you, but it's now free to use anyway on the Quest Store, so you can pick that up and have a look at it. It doesn't give you the sort of Google Earth life-sized view of stuff. You get more of like a tabletop view of the city in front of you, and then you can surround yourself with like the 360-degree sort of photo image of a location or whatever. And there's like games built into it where you can like teleport to somewhere, and you have to try and figure out where you are in the world if you're into that sort of thing. My geography knowledge is shocking, so there's like absolutely no way I'd even bother trying. Honestly, it could probably put me like 3 streets away, and I wouldn't guess where I was. So, but yeah, if you like sort of like traveling the world trying to figure out where you are, and you know, it's multiplayer, give it a go. It's free.
It looks cool, right? It does look kind of cool from what I'm looking on the video.
I've downloaded it because Roger
because Roger said it in Discord. Yeah, I did the same. Yeah,
yeah, it does look good. I've actually thought about picking this up numerous times in the past anyway, just to get that kind of semi Google Earth experience in the Quest would be good.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, if you're into that sort of thing, yeah, there you go. Don't cost anything anymore. So, Ghostbusters: Rise of the Ghost Lord came out, and I don't think any of us have actually played it, have we?
No,
as far as I'm aware.
No,
none of us picked it up. They weren't giving out review keys at all, which was a major sort of like warning sign. It's been sort of, not been great. I think from the stuff I've seen. I don't know if anybody's seen more positive reviews of it, or
I think I've seen like 3 people. Yeah, what said they're enjoying it, or it's growing on them the more they're playing it. But
right,
yeah, that's all I've seen as in the positive side.
I've seen the same really. So you get these on Reddit that you'll get the initial flurry of it's awful, and this kind of stuff, and then you'll get people that will. Do posts that will contradict it, and that's really what I've seen, and there's some valid points. I think there's a lot of stuff. I don't know if this is because Nathan put a video out saying this is not the game I expected. This was after his first impressions like a month ago, when he got to try it quickly, and I think that seems to be the sentiment of a lot of what's going on at the minute. But I was watching the Q2C podcast. They have tried it briefly at that time. Mash and Todd, they were sort of, Todd was very disappointed in it. He was really he was looking forward to it and really didn't have a lot of good things to say about it. But I don't know, because we've not played it, we can't give any first-hand impressions. We were only talking about the reaction to it, and the reaction is not good. Really. The
a repeated comment I've seen is, I don't know who this is aimed at.
Yes, that's right. And
definitely not the OG Ghostbusters fans like us, like from the 80s and stuff.
Yeah, or even people who sort of like, people who grew up with it when it was a really huge, big thing. It's don't seem to be really enjoying it that much.
One of the comments was, I want to fight ghosts, not these weird amoebas that seem to be...
Oh, dear.
Yeah. Well, like we say, we've not played it, so we really can't give an opinion on it.
And honestly,
also,
just very quickly, I will quickly say, I know what you're going to say. I was going to say I forgot what I was going to say. Go ahead, Lee.
What I'm going to say is, as we play the games, we give reviews and give our experiences what they are. We try to be as honest as we can. Well, we are as honest as we can. Trust our honest reviews. But what I will say is, do not trust anything that's posted in Meta that says this is a 5-star game. Basically because people will just link shamelessly to their 25% discount, and all they're trying to do is just get some credit back. Same with Ghostbusters, people just banging 5-star reviews on it in the Meta store so they can leave a link and get money, which is totally shameless. Which leads me into, if you do like any of the games you've seen and heard today on the podcast, there is 25% discount in the description. But I just find that annoys me more than anything, that Meta haven't put a stop to that yet, because it's getting beyond the joke now.
Well, go on.
They seemed to try at one point, didn't they? There was at one point where some games were coming out, and they were really sort of like, you wouldn't even, when a game launched, for quite a few hours afterwards, you weren't getting reviews underneath. It was almost as if they were trying to put a stop to just having instant links appearing.
Because folks are putting that, aren't they? They're putting, I've not played this yet, but here you go. Here's my...
Yeah.
they started using people started using that URL shortness to get around. So it seems as if Meta were trying to filter out the links, but people just started using URL shorteners or saying replace this character with this character. And the reviews on the store are just they are genuinely a joke.
So that's my running theme for the 25% thing. That was it.
Yeah, right. Well, that paid off anyway. Upcoming stuff. I think we've just got like 3 things on here, sort of 3 of the more major things. First up, next week on the 31st for Quest and PSVR 2, we've got the Foglands. I don't know much about this apart from I do quite like the look of the trailer. I don't know whether it's like a roguelike type game or whether it's like a story-based thing, or I've no idea.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about it.
Well, this is the thing. I don't either. Somebody mentioned on some podcast or other that I was listening to that it is a roguelike, I believe.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know. I've heard this mentioned quite a lot, and all I've got really is the trailer. I don't know anything else about it. So, but it does look, like a good Halloween kind of thing, I guess, as well.
Yeah, it looks. Yeah, I mean, it looks decent from what I've seen. So it's. It's like I don't know I don't know the price on it either. Though that's the thing. I don't think I don't know if they've said. I didn't see anything when I had a look earlier. Anyway.
No, I think it just says like pre-order or whatever, doesn't it? But
yeah. But yeah, next week on the 31st, Request and PSVR 2, it is coming to Steam, but there's no date. There's no date on the Steam version, so not sure. Also next week, though, we've got Vampire the Masquerade Justice on November the 2nd. I'm sort of in 2 minds about this one. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure, especially since there seems to be an Assassin's Creed video on the screen at the moment.
Oh,
that's probably I didn't know. I didn't mention it because last time when things froze up and that, you said everything were all right. I was keeping quiet.
No, it's fine. Yeah, the recording has got the Vampire Masquerade on.
Yeah, that's what I thought,
for you guys. Yeah,
no problem.
Oh dear. So yeah, again, I'm sort of like, I'm not entirely sure, and it's probably one I could quite happily wait for reviews on to see if it's any good rather than just sort of diving in and picking it up.
I'll wait for reviews on it, but this one does look. I'm definitely interested in it because I like the stealth sort of aspect of it. I think that's the part that, because I've not really played that many games that really utilise stealth that well, and if this one does it really well in VR, then I'm interested in that kind of thing. But
saying that, the games that do have stealth in it, I usually go guns a-blazing anyway, even if it gives me that option. So,
you should.
Perhaps it might learn me.
Yeah.
I tell you what, looking at this trailer, I know you guys can't see it at the moment, but looking at the trailer, it really does remind me of Thief. It just does, like Thief in VR,
right,
and that's what I really want. That
Thief the Dark project was just so good.
Yeah, it was
so good. I'm getting all nostalgic again. Anyway, the big one which is coming out, which should be out, I think, a few days after we record the next podcast, is Assassin's Creed Nexus, which is out on the 16th of November. There was a TwitchCon event thing happening recently, and Meta were doing were showing off a few games. They showed off Ghostbusters, which is out now anyway. They showed out some Asgard's Wrath 2, which they didn't show any of the overworld stuff for Asgard's Wrath 2. They just showed the sort of like procedural dungeon mode that you can go into on it, and it looked it's fine. But they also showed off Assassin's Creed Nexus as well, which they did it over a couple of days, and I picked some video out on this particular video out because it was showing the outside sections where the previous run somebody did on it was all inside, and it was a bit on the dark side. Not to sort of like shame anybody's gaming expertise, but honestly, the woman playing this, I had to start this about halfway through her sort of demonstration, because the first half of her demo was just her dying. All the time. It's like one of the worst presentations.
So basically she's like the female representation of me playing games.
Yeah.
Hashtag pro gamer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hashtag pro gamers.
Literally. At one point she fell into some water and she went, I don't know how to swim. And it's like, oh, good grief. you're supposed to be showing off a game here, and all she was showing off was dying repeatedly. It's like,
I think they get a lot of these people that are not really into VR and stuff, isn't it? That's where the problems seem to. I mean, who is this person? Do we know?
I've no idea.
No.
I've no idea. I'd watched some of some of the footage from the previous day, and then but this one was showing off something a little bit different, area. So
that's not very stealthy from what I'm watching on the video.
This is
not doing stealth games.
Yeah,
but
this isn't, is it?
I do like how it looks. I do like, I'm looking in the distance, and I know, granted, videos don't give a true representation of what it looks like in the headset, but so far the scale and the depth of it looks pretty good from what I can see.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I will be. I think I'll definitely be using some of my final remaining Metastore credit on this one.
Yeah, well, I tell you, this I don't know if you still. This is the discussion after the show, really, but I don't know if you still use the website where you can put your codes for anybody that doesn't know. You can put your codes into that website, and it will sort of people who want a 25% discount. And it's gone bonkers for me this past couple of weeks since the Quest 3 launched.
You're going to have to send it me again, because I'm sure I put all my links in, but because all the games I've got are really what people don't want to play, maybe I need to try and sneak a sneaky dungeons one in there or something.
Yeah, I've had at least like 3 or 4 dungeons from my link in there as well. I will put the link in the description, I'll put the link in the description because people should be aware of it. But thing is, Meta are offering this service, so you never pay full price for a game. You don't need to. Yeah. So you might as well take advantage of this thing, and people get a kickback as well. So why not? It's benefiting everyone. The only thing I will say is I don't know if this money is coming out of the dev's pocket or Meta's pocket. That's the only thing.
Oh, please don't tell me it's the devs. I was hoping it's straight from Boz's bank account.
I assume it's Meta, because surely devs don't have a choice.
It's got to be. Yeah. It's got to be Meta. Yeah.
Because they'll be taking a percentage anyway from the dev sale, right? Well, from the game sale anyway, Meta would.
Well, I assume it's 30%. Because that's the standard thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So if it's 30%, where the code will get you 25% off, so Meta is still getting that, getting a 5, getting their 5%, aren't they? So, but yeah, it's an across the board thing, isn't it? On anything above a certain price, I think in the UK, I think as long as it's something's $10.99 or above in the UK, then it's generally there'll be a 25% off code you can generate.
And it's more than what you think. I mean, something like a 23 quid game, it made it about £16 for me for Into the Radius. So it's a good, it's a good saving, and then you're also giving a bit back to whoever's giving it you as well. So it helps.
The thing is, sometimes it can take a game where you think that game's slightly overpriced, and it can bring it into the range of actually that's quite reasonable.
Good point.
This episode has been the 25% discount code episode. We should probably move on.
And we were even saying at the beginning, I don't know if we've got enough to talk about, and then we're just about to hit the 2-hour mark.
Yeah,
we always say that every time.
Same. Yeah,
it is. Yeah, but I think that's everything we've actually got on the docs. Is there anything anybody wants to add on?
Not really. No, I think we should be back in 2 weeks as usual, as far as I know. So.
I mean, if anyone's interested, there are 25% discount codes in the description. But yeah. But no, I think we've got several dead horses with flogged.
Yeah.
I think I've definitely worked that one. I'm never going to mention it ever again.
Or the Salty Quest 2 tiers.
Oh yeah, go watch that video. It's kind of cool. I watch Gary's videos too.
Well, before we get out of here, please subscribe. Especially please subscribe. We do need the subscription numbers, because we got some for us a nice amount of views on the last episode, but we have obviously taken a hit on the sub count, moving over to its own dedicated channel. So we would really appreciate that. If you do what I'm not about to say, if you do want to use 25% off discount.
Oh jeez.
See, it's easily forgotten.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is. But yeah, subscribe. As always, really appreciate it. If you've made it to the end, you mad person, you. Thank you so much for listening, and cheers, everyone.
See you next time.
Take care.
And joining me, as always, we've got Lee and oh, for fuck's sake.